You ready to learn some drills that'll take your skills on the wooden dummy to the next level? Stay tuned. What's going on, YouTube fam? Sifu Jimmy Manfredy here, coming at you once again for Street Kung Fu. Today we're going to be working on a few drills here on the wooden dummy sitting behind me, and it's going to help you work your rolling hands, some of your leg techniques, which a lot of people forget about. Alright, so your in and out drills, getting into the body, getting out of the body. So let's get to it. Alright, the first drill we're going to work on is called Luk Sao, rolling hands. It's as simple as it sounds. We're going to be going in and out in a rolling pattern. There's going to be pretty much 2 or 3 techniques here that we're going to utilize. One is Kao Sao, the other one is Hun Sao, which is circling hand. Kao Sao is hooking hand. And then we got Jum Sao, which is going to position itself kind of like a downward chop in this particular case. All right, so from here we're going to actually start here to get us going so we can measure distance, so on and so forth. All right, the most common mistake here is that everybody gets in super close and then they start doing this and their hands are super tight and collapsed into the body. I mean, you can still roll, but it's really tight. Your elbows are so collapsed that if you were to do this in an actual application, you know, it's gonna push right into your body with pretty much no resistance. All right, so what you want to do is you want to get a nice good angle on your arm, at least 45 degrees. All right, and from here we're going to go in with my right. So I'm going to pull this one away for a second so you can see. I'm going to go in and down, and this is Kao Sao, the hooking hand. All right, so this is going to pull this way as I shift. All right, so it's going to go 1 here, and then it's going to roll underneath, okay, and go into that Jum Sao inward. All right, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we take the other hand, all right, starting from the same position. We leave it in the Jum Sao as this one does the hook. 1, all right. I'm shifted to the right as I'm going, and then I circle in, and as I circle in and come up, I hook the other hand, and hook the other hand. All right. Now, the goal here isn't to try to power the dummy. It's not to, you know, strike the dummy. I know you hear a sound happening here, which is this right here, but that sound is coming for the fact that the holes for the arms are oversized compared to the arms. They're not in there snug. All right. That sound lets you know you're doing it properly, unless, you know, you're getting a really big, you know, that means you're just slamming into it. So keep that in mind. You want to roll, all right? The goal is rolling here. This is also going to help, obviously, in your Chi Sao and stuff like that later on, because, you know, you can roll while doing Chi Sao and get into an inside-outside position, so on and so forth. Now, little known fact that this particular drill can also help you in a grappling situation. You know, Kung Fu systems have another system hidden within them called Chun Master, which is basically joint manipulation. 99.9% of all martial arts in China have them. Chun Master is a blanket reference for joint manipulation, but there is also a specific system for it. So, you know, we'll be touching on that later videos here on Street Kung Fu, so stay tuned for those. But this will help you with those grappling drills. All right, there's tons of grappling drills like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has, where you're rolling in and out and getting into the body and so on and so forth. This can help you gain a little more prowess with that, okay? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, my recommendation for this drill, do it at least, you know, 50 times. And that's before you even get started doing anything else on the dummy, to be honest with you. Why? Because it'll help you learn how to roll around the arms and get in and out. You know, that's pretty much what it's there for. All right, so even if you're going to go into the regular wooden dummy drill, you got to still roll this arm from this position here out. So if you're learning how to move your hands in a very smooth, rotation, it's going to help. All right. So that's the first one. Looks out. Let's move on to the next. All right, this particular drill is actually part of the fourth section. It is the beginning of the fourth section, which goes a little something like this. All right, so that's the beginning of the fourth section. So what we're doing here is a Busao going inward, or BUG depending on who's looking at it. All right, Busao, and then Muay Jutsao, which is inside Jutsao. Oi Jutsao, which is outside Jutsao, and then you're going to turn and do a jump sao on the inside, and then cow sao, like in the earlier drill, the hooking hand, and then go down to dai zheng, which is low palm. All right, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and the last one is simultaneous. All right, so you do that multiple times. Again, my magic number is always 50, so you do it 50 times daily and it becomes easier. Okay, so you do it 50 times daily on both sides, depending on who your instructor is, what lineage they're representing, or whatever what have you, which when you fight, lineage really doesn't matter, but where you learn it from does. All right, so lineage definitely matters depending on who you're learning it from. That way you could explain what you're talking about in a very concise fashion. All right, so in this particular case, we're doing an Ip Man lineage. The variation that I'm doing, taught to me by my Sifu, my Sifus, all three of my teachers come from the Ip Man lineage, either taught by Ip Ching or Ip Chun, or both, actually. You can do this drill on one side when you're actually doing the form, or you can do it on both sides. So again, it all depends on who teaches you the whole wooden dummy form. All right, so some people do just one, where you just go in here, go right into these, which are po pies, okay, which is basically plum blossom hands or pushes, however you want to say it. All right, and that section can be done just the one side. You finish up, go in, do all that good stuff, and then you don't repeat on the other side. All right, other people will teach repeating it on the other side. I personally repeat it on the other side because it just makes sense to do it on both sides. Now, with that said, I've been taught both. Doing it on both sides, doing it one side, it's not wrong. Again, it's preference on instructor. That's why if you look around for wooden dummy, anything, anywhere, you're gonna find 108, 116, and some even have 132. So it all depends on who's teaching it, what era in which they learned it from, Ip Man or whoever their instructor was, whether they learned it from the Ip Man lineage or not. There's always going to be reference to it. Okay, now again, we're going to go up, Busao as a block, or Bug as an attack that just happens to block, inward Jutsao, which means going in. If you notice my hand, it kind of twists out a little bit, and it's coming and pulling. Okay, then I'm going to shift and go on the outside and do the same thing. I'm going to pull. All right, now the inside and outside of this means the inside of my hand, outside of my hand, not so much outside of their arms. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then turn it into a jump sao as you shift. Then we cow sao, and Daijang at the same time. Okay, going from there. You know, the rest of it, you know, we go into Quan Sao, turn in, and so on and so forth. But for now, we're focusing on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So practice that over and over and over. It's a very good drill to help you, you know, work the inside of somebody's arms. You know, realistically, are you going to do all these techniques in succession like the dummy's showing you? No. But combat is chaotic. These are just tools in your toolbox for you to pull out and use when necessary. They don't necessarily have to go all in succession. You know, you can go in and block somebody like this, and you succeeded. You can go that way, you succeeded. Go back that way, you succeeded. Now again, you don't have to do it in succession. It could be one instance, couple seconds, or even another complete different fight later. You do the other one, you know. So it all depends on you. All right. So work that drill out, practice it over and over. Let's move on to the next one. All right, the next drill we're going to work on consists of 3 leg techniques. All right, we're going to go in with what can be considered a roundhouse or a sweep or so on and so forth. It's from the Solgra family, which is a sweeping leg. And then we're going to go from there into what's called Bonga family, which is kind of like the Bong Sao that we worked on earlier, but with your leg. Duh. All right. And then the last one is going to be Chaiga, which is a stomping kick. Now, another variation of saying these, replace the G with tek. All right. Now, Cantonese word for kick is tek. All right. Bruce Lee in his Taoji Kundo states it. You know, my visits to China states it. Pretty much anyone that I know that speaks Cantonese in my travels say that the phonetic word for kick is tek. But ge, or gyuk, or however you want to pronounce it, is another variation of being able to say that, or, you know, leg, so on and so forth. Does that, I hope that makes sense. All right, so right now I'm going to stand up. The reason why I'm on the ground is so I can obviously keep the camera low enough for you to see my legs. All right, so we're going to hit the dummy. Now, I hit the dummy. All right, I hit it with my shins. I hit it with the side of my leg. It's conditioning. Now, do not kick the dummy like you're trying to break the leg. Wood will break you before you break it when it's this condensed, this thick. This one right here is oak, so I mean it'll break my leg if I was a beginner before I ever break it. Okay, so with that said, kick it moderately at first. You know, if you want, use a shin guard, very thin shin guard. Don't kick it hard. Don't go for kicking it hard. These are unbalancing techniques. Like, you're trying to get their leg out from under them. You're not trying to break their leg. You're trying to get them off their center and then do whatever else you're going to do with your hands combined with your legs, okay? This is just a drill to help you utilize your leg techniques, okay? All right, let's get to it. All right, as I stated before, the first technique we're going to utilize is a sweeping in, okay? Now, I hit it with my shin. That should knock their leg, depending on how hard you hit it, can knock it out from under them or just kick it a little off center to unbalance them. In that case, I pull up, okay, as I'm still turning into it, as you can see. So it's going 1, 2, and then from here, I'm going to switch back. As you can see, I'm rotating inward, okay, turning my toes outward, and then hitting with my heel right at the knee, and then resetting. And then going to the other side. 1, 2, 3. All right, so with that said, like I said earlier, utilize that moderate kicking power. You can build it over time if you want. You will condition your legs, but keep in mind, every time you hit something, especially with your bone, you're creating micro fractures. So do it responsibly. You still have to let those microfractures heal. If you're consistently kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and you forget to take time off and let those microfractures heal, you're going to kind of end up like Anderson Silva when he hit that shin kick and then his leg kind of flopped around like a noodle. All right? You have to let the microfractures build in with calcium. That is what makes your leg, your knuckles, everything stronger. All right? Overdoing it will just end up in horrible breaks and you know, possibly career-ending disfigurement of your legs, okay, or your hands, or so on and so forth. It's the same thing that causes boxers fractures. You know, guys consistently hitting pads and you know, hitting bags and so on and so forth, and they're not letting their hands heal over time. You know, those microfractures have to build up. You know, and of course, situational things take into place as well, but if you're consistently wearing and tearing on them, sooner or later they're going to give out. So moderately use your head, kick it with some sense, all right? Because if not, it's going to knock some sense into you, all right? Let's move on to the next one. All right, this next drill can be used in multiple applications such as hip tosses, so on and so forth, but it has another technique thrown in there in a Wing Chun mentality to kick the back leg out from under you as well. All right, so this one's going to knock the front leg out and then go for the back leg too, either the knee, the shin, wherever you want to hit it. All right, let's check it out. All right, in this case, we're going to be utilizing a technique called hunga or huntek, all right, which is a circling leg, okay? So it's going to come in, circle in, all right? In this particular case, I'm utilizing pretty much the side of my calf and even the back of my calf, depending on how much I shift into the direction I'm going to circle out into, okay? So we're going to add 2 more techniques that are going to help get to the back leg. So in this case, because the wooden dummy only has 1 leg, all right, we're going to go in, hit, all right. We're going to bring our leg up in jetka or jetek, up like that, and then twist back out, rolling, and then kicking. All right, so again, 1, 2, 3. Come out. 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 All right, so it's very simple, very fluid, okay? It works to get to that back leg when you're in a real close situation, all right? So if you're tussling with someone, if you got, both of your hands are busy on their hands by grabbing them or trying to avoid being thrown or whatever, you can circle out, pull their leg up, and then go for their back leg to even more, for an even more destructive technique, because if all their weight's on that back leg and you kick out their knee or something, that's all she wrote, all right? So practice it. Remember, magic number is 50. Just go slowly, slowly, slowly. Build up speed over time. It doesn't have to go fast. It doesn't have to, hit rock hard every time as you're training. You do that over time. I know, some people will be like, oh, but I'm trying to get good at it quick. Look, if you try to get good at it quick and you skip steps, no matter the martial art, no matter the art, period, the combat system, whatever you want to call it, okay? If you try to skip essential steps, you're only hurting yourself. And when the time comes for you to use it, it's kind of like, if you train with a firearm and, you train with it and you're constantly having it on your hip the entire time, and you're training with it on your hip, and you're drilling it and drilling it and drilling it. It becomes second nature, right? But then you go out on the street and you have it in a small of the back holster or a shoulder holster, but you're only drilling it when it's on your hip. When the time comes for you to use it, your instinct is going to go for your hip. It's not going to go for the shoulder holster. It's not going to go for the small of the back holster, none of those fancy other holsters. It's going to go for wherever you drilled it. So if you drill it consistently, any of these drills over and over and over, they will do their job when the time comes, because instinctually they know what to do, all right? Now, build conditioning over time, hit everything moderately. Don't break your leg. Don't act like a tough guy in the studio or the academy or whatever you want to call your school. Just do it, get better over time, and pass it on, all right? So practice it. Magic number's 50. Comment below, tell me how you're doing, ask for pointers, ask for what you want to hear next. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Let's do it. Moving on, Street Kung Fu. See you later. We got more techniques just like this one to come here on Street Kung Fu. Hit that subscribe button.